Is the world about to face a nuclear war? It seems that Iran is causing quite a headache for world powers. To add to the suspense, Lukashenko recently made a statement that Russia will give free nuclear weapons to any country willing to join the Russian-Belarus Union. This shocking announcement has raised significant alarms globally. Recently, the USA alerted the world that Iran is making a nuclear bomb, or that it was capable of doing so in less than 2 weeks. So what will be the consequences if Iran acquires nuclear weapons, and how might it lead to a major conflict? Or might there be a nuclear war?
Iran's destabilizing actions are not just a threat to Israel. They are a challenge to the region and to the world.
Iran's nuclear program is still advancing at a speed of light, and at some stage we would be once again faced with the dilemma of whether we can live with Iran with a bomb or bomb Iran.
Before jumping on, a quick reminder to like the video. Now, interesting news is that Iran's interest in nuclear programs isn't new, however. It dates back 2 decades. But what's really shocking is how close Iran is to achieving its nuclear ambitions. According to experts, Iran have enriched uranium up to 84%. The United States reached this conclusion based on important evidence. United Nations regulators found uranium particles in Iran, and this discovery was confirmed by the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, after examining samples taken from Iran's nuclear plant.
Its inspectors took samples of uranium particles that were enriched to up to 83.7% purity.
In simple words, they could perhaps build a nuclear bomb in about 2 weeks, if they wanted to. This claim was made by the top US defense officials who are closely monitoring the situation. Numerous countries are also worried about it, because this whole situation has shaken up the entire Middle East's geopolitical landscape. For instance, Israel has even threatened to strike Iran if it approaches nuclear capability. And you are aware of how close the United States and Israel are. That kind of situation could lead to a terrible outcome. You may now be wondering why the US and other Western nations become so alarmed whenever there is even the slightest hint of nuclear weapons in the Middle East. It actually dates back to history. The United States has always been worried about other nations obtaining access to such powerful weapons. This fear first appeared in 1968. To address this concern globally, the Non-Proliferation Treaty was established with the contributions of the United States, the United Kingdom, and Russia. Like many other countries, Iran also signed this treaty. The 2 main objectives of this convention were to promote non-militaristic application of nuclear technology and to stop the spread of nuclear weapons. In 2002, it was revealed that Iran was secretly building nuclear sites. Iran claimed that these are for peaceful purposes like nuclear energy generation. However, this revelation caused suspicions in Western countries that Iran might be trying to develop nuclear weapons, which led them to take strict measures and impose sanctions on Iran. In 2015, Iran reached the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action with many influential nations like Germany, France, the UK, the USA, and Russia. This agreement placed strict limits on Iran's nuclear program in exchange for lifting sanctions. Under the terms of this agreement, Iran's uranium stockpile was closely monitored by the IAEA and other international agencies. In return, Iran agreed to limit its uranium enrichment to a maximum of 3.67% for the next 15 years. However, things took a turn in 2018 when President Trump decided to withdraw the USA from this agreement, claiming that it did not effectively control Iran's missile program and its influence in the region. As a consequence, Iran started disregarding the restrictions on its nuclear program just a year after that. This move raised doubts about Iran's intentions and raised concerns among other countries. Consequently, Iran faced numerous sanctions from Western countries, including the USA, making it one of the most heavily sanctioned nations. They've been under the spotlight for quite some time, until the focus shifted to Russia during the Russian-Ukrainian war. Recent developments about Iran's enriched uranium stockpile have brought this issue into the spotlight once again. Even though Iran denies building a nuclear bomb, the discovery of enriched uranium has left the United States and the world on edge. The uncertainty about Iran's nuclear plans remains a significant worry, leading countries to closely watch the situation and assess the potential risks of nuclear weapons spreading in the region. But the question is why Iran wants to become a nuclear power despite facing such heavy sanctions and opposition from other countries. The answer lies in Iran's leadership and foreign policy. Iran's government, ruled by the supreme leader with significant religious and political authority, has officially stated that nuclear bombs are against Islamic law. However, their actions suggest otherwise. Moreover, Iran has a history of strained relations with the US, dating back to historical events like the 1953 coup and the hostage crisis. As a consequence, they may see developing nuclear capabilities as a way to enhance their influence in the region and challenge the US and its allies. Iran is eager to increase its influence in the Middle East and wishes to see the United States leave the region. As a result, some of the US allies in the Arabian Peninsula have become Iran's enemies. Among them, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates have close ties with the US, but they are not always seen as reliable partners by the US. However, things took an interesting turn when the war in Ukraine began and oil prices surged. The Saudi-led OPEC decided to cut oil production, which displeased the United States. The US believed that these oil-rich countries were profiting from the war and inflated oil prices. Despite the uncertain reliability of these alliances, the US has strategically built ties with them because Saudi Arabia and the UAE are influential countries in the Arab world. These relationships provide benefits to the US in economic and political terms. Military cooperation is also a crucial aspect of these alliances, as the US is a top military supplier for both Saudi Arabia and the UAE. On the other hand, Iran views these developments with anxiety. It believes that the US is getting too close to its enemies, and this has led to a Cold War with Saudi Arabia and other Gulf countries. Iran engages in proxy wars in various Middle Eastern countries, aiming to expand its influence and counter its rivals. Iran's pursuit of nuclear weapons has further intensified the situation. It sees acquiring nuclear capabilities as a way to enhance its power in the region and as a safeguard against potential threats. However, this ambition has sparked concerns among its enemies, particularly Israel and Saudi Arabia. Amidst these tensions, Iran has forged a strategic alliance with Russia. This move helps Iran gain military support and access to advanced equipment, while Russia finds a partner in its own conflicts and challenges with the West. So, will Russia provide the wings to Iran's potential nuclear bombs? The story is still developing.